All right, let's get into it. Today we're going to tackle a really critical safety standard called Lockout/Tagout. Now, I know it sounds kind of technical, but stick with me. We're going to break it down so it's super clear what it is and, more importantly, why it matters so much.
So, picture this. You're about to work on some heavy-duty machinery. You walk up, you hit that big red off button, everything grinds to a halt. The lights go dark, looks totally safe, right? But here's the thing. What if off isn't really off? What if there's energy still coiled up inside, just waiting? That exact scenario, that's the problem this whole standard was created to solve.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. We've got 5 main parts. We'll start with what that hidden danger actually is. Then we'll get into the safety program that's required to handle it. After that, we'll talk about who's who, the key players. Then we'll walk through the actual procedure, step by step. And finally, we'll wrap up with why, getting this right is absolutely not optional.
All right, Section 1, the hidden danger. At its very core, this whole regulation is about one thing, controlling the unexpected. We're talking about those terrifying situations where a machine suddenly kicks back on or releases a burst of energy while someone's working on it. And, that's when really serious injuries can happen.
And this is what we call hazardous energy. And listen, it is so much more than just electricity. I want you to think about the incredible force packed into a hydraulic line, or maybe a giant compressed spring. Even the leftover heat in a system can be a major hazard. All of these things are super dangerous if they're not controlled before the work starts. And that's the key. A simple off switch just doesn't cut it against these hidden forces.
Which brings us right to the solution, this safety control program. And this is so important to get right off the bat. This is not just about slapping a padlock on something. Nope, it's about building and following a whole safety system.
And that system is really built on 3 main pillars. Every single company has to have these. First, you need documented procedures. I'm talking step-by-step instructions for every single machine. Second, solid employee training, so everyone knows exactly what their role is. And third, you've got to do annual inspections to make sure the whole program is actually working the way it's supposed to.
Now, this part is really key. To actually control the energy, you have to use what's called an energy isolating device. And what does that mean? It means something that creates a physical barrier. Think about flipping a circuit breaker or shutting a main valve. That physically stops the flow. A simple push button? That's not good enough. It just interrupts a little control signal, not the real power. And that right there is a huge potential point of failure.
Okay, so how do we make sure that isolating device stays off? Well, the standard is super clear about this. Physical locks are king. They're always the go-to because, well, a lock is a physical barrier. A tag is really just a warning sign. It says, hey, don't touch this, but it doesn't physically stop anyone. So tags are only allowed in those really rare situations where you just can't physically put a lock on something. And even then, you have to add a bunch of extra safety steps.
Okay, we've got the system down. Now let's talk about the people involved. Because the regulation is very specific about who does what, and for good reason. There can't be any confusion when it comes to safety.
Basically, it boils down to 2 key roles, the authorized employee and the affected employee. So, the authorized employee, that's the trained person who's actually doing the service, the one who physically puts the lock on. They are responsible for the whole procedure from start to finish. Then you have the affected employee. This is anyone who, operates the machine normally or just works in that area. Their job is simple but crucial. They need to know what's happening, stay away from the lock, and absolutely never try to start that machine up.
All right, this brings us to the main event, the procedure itself. And I really want to stress this. This is not some casual checklist you can just breeze through. It is a strict step-by-step sequence. You have to follow it in the exact order. Every single time. No exceptions.
So here's the sequence. First up is preparation. The authorized employee has to know every single energy source for that machine. Then you shut the machine down using the normal procedure. Step 3, isolate it from all that power. Flip the breakers, close the valves. Then the authorized employee puts their own personal lock and tag on it. Next, and this is a big one, you have to deal with any stored energy. That could mean draining pressure, blocking a part that could move, whatever it takes. And then you get to the most critical step of all, verification. This is where you actually try to start the machine, to prove without a doubt that it is completely de-energized.
I'm going to say it again because it's that important. This verification step, it's everything. It is the moment of truth. Pushing that start button after you've applied the lock isn't an oops. It's a required final check. It's the only way to know for sure that everything you just did actually worked and that machine has zero energy.
It's what turns "I think it's safe" into "I know it's safe." Okay, last section. Let's bring it all home and talk about why this is all so non-negotiable. Because really, this isn't just about checking a box on a form or avoiding a fine. The stakes are, well, they're as high as they get.
You know, when you strip away all the technical jargon, all the steps, all the rules, it all comes down to one simple, powerful idea. The whole point of Lockout, Tagout is to make absolutely sure that every single person who works on a machine gets to go home safely to their family at the end of the day. Period.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. It's not enough to just know this regulation exists. The real question is it being practiced every day on every machine? Does your team really know these steps? Because at the end of the day, understanding this, and more importantly, doing it, is what actually keeps people from getting hurt.
If you found this helpful or want to stay updated when this regulation changes, subscribe and support the channel. And if you need the full technical details on this CFR, click the link in the description below. See you next time.